Hey guys, welcome to the Whimsical Workshop. We are up to month 5 in our Imagine block of the month, so let's get started. Yay! Alright, so we are up to month 5 in the Imagine block of the month. Remember, this is the block of the month that we are partnering with MulQueen Sewing Center for their Aurifil Thread Collector sets. Each month you get a box of 3 beautiful 50 weight threads, and we take these threads and I've created a whole quilt that I curated the colors from. And each month you get to make the block that month and a secondary project. The only way to receive the patterns for Imagine at this time are along with the Aurifil Thread Collector Club. I will put the link below so you can check it out. You can buy 1 month, you can buy the entire program. Totally up to you. This month's block is called Create, and every other month there is an inspirational word, and then the off... Doodle says hi. In the off month we do another block so that the quilt has 6 words and 6 pretty blocks to complement that. So with all that being said, let's talk about this month's secondary project. It is a journal cover or a sketchbook cover, and it has pockets inside. In the back there are 1, 2, 3 pockets. In the front there is a big pocket and a little pocket, and then I did thread painting all across the front with the 3 threads for the month. This was my prototype. It is a little bit short. Yours will not. That's why we make a prototype. Obviously this could work for a 6x9 notebook. I'm trying to shove a 7x10 in here, so it's not that the journal cover won't work, it just doesn't work with the book I want to work it to work with. With all that being said, we are going to get going here. So the first thing is the colors of the month. We've got a beautiful turquoise, we've got a bright happy yellow, and a nice purpley violet. I picked these colors to go with this block, and the block is got the teal letters. We used the yellow for the green and the yellow, and we used the purple for these outer circles. Now I also brought in, well, the yellow goes with the yellow. I also brought in from month 4 the lime green. From month 3 I brought in this orangey red to use on both the red and the orange. And month 2 I brought in the royal blue. I just don't have that spool right here. So we are going backwards in our collection and pulling colors so that if you are going along with us, you know which month to pull them out. That information will be in the pattern and tell you what colors I used. So with this month, the journal cover is going to be the main part of the video. So I went ahead and I have fused and stitched all of my pieces for the Create block. We'll move these out of the way. And we're going to go quickly over how to put the border on, but then we're going to really jump over to the journal cover. If you need any explanation on how to do the fusible applique or the strip piecing for the border, just follow the videos below. Video 1, I go into detail about how to do the fusible applique, and in video 4, I go over how to do strip piecing. So this is the block. I do want to talk a little bit about my thread painting here, and then the outer border you'll do these in the corner. You're going to strip piece and do the rail fence all the way around. Okay, I haven't finished the rail fence, but we're not going to do that on camera. I will get the block finished and show you it at the end of the video, but I do want to make sure we have enough time to do the journal cover. So again, to do the block, you're going to check out video 1 for fusible applique and video 4 for strip piecing, and I have faith that you will be totally fine with that. Now I do, before we jump to the journal cover, want to talk about the spool, because we did some detail on it. If you look at the quilt, we have, the spool has lines in it. So what I did is I just eyeballed the lines and I drew them on here with a friction pen. And then I'm going to go over to my machine and I am going to use the triple stitch, which is a thick straight stitch, and I'm going to do those lines so that they have a really pretty like thread detail. And I also took one of these and took it to the C, so it looks like it's coming off of the spool and in its stitching around the letters. So all of this I'm going to do with a triple stitch, and I'll show you that with the finished borders at the end of the video. I just want you to see how I'm going to do that because I'm going to be doing it with this teal. It's a little bit harder to see, but it gives a really pretty texture to the block. All right, so we'll set that aside for my homework. Now we're going to take this whole pile of pieces and turn it into a journal cover. So this is the journal we're covering. This is a 7x10 sketchbook. I just picked it up at Michael's. The whole point of the Create Month is to be creative. You can do any notebook you want. You would just have to adjust your sizes to be 1 inch bigger than your notebook. Not a 1/2 inch, because that's what happened here and I ran out of room, but 1 inch bigger. So this is 7x10, so we need the whole cover closed to be 8x11, which means when it's open, it needs to be 16x11. So we're going to go ahead and use those measurements, and that's all in your pattern. I made this piece just to figure it all out, and then put it in the pattern correctly. So you will need stabilizer. This is Pellon Deco Bond. I like it. It's lightweight, it's easy, it fuses onto the pieces that we need it to fuse onto, and then this whole pile of pieces will make this. So the first thing you're going to be cutting are a bunch of strips, and I just want to make sure there's one, and I designed this so it's the longer two that are 2.5, then there's a 3.5, and then we go back to 2.5, because 11 inches is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11. That's how we got there. So I just put the fatter one in the middle, and then I used this colors. These are colors that are in the block, and I just took the cool colors out. You could certainly use the warm colors. It's totally up to you. This is our interior. This is our business card pocket. This is another pocket and another pocket. And then we've got these 2 strips. And you want to lay this out, because honestly, I'm really good at sewing, and I screwed this up. I had to tear the whole thing apart and redo it. So I'm going to give you the word of caution. Lay it out so you get the right strips with the right pieces. Because this one does go here. This one, there's something going on here. Oh, you know what I did? The teal is next. I got those backwards. There we go. Now when you look at this, it looks like a rectangle. So I guarantee, let me move this down a little so you can see it better. But I guarantee laying these out is going to make your life a lot easier. You can also decide if you want this big wide piece at the bottom or at the top. I felt that it was pretty heavy, so I put it towards the bottom. You could do a solid piece of fabric. It is totally up to you. So I'm going to go ahead and get this sewn. Wait, hang on. We got one more pocket. I'm going to go ahead and get this sewn, and then we're going to mark it for our thread painting, which is just using, again, a decorative stitch. A decorative stitch that was on my machine. I used the teal on the purple, I used yellow on the teal, and I used purple on the green. And what I did is, once I got this front done, I measured and put a center line on these 2 and a lower line in those 2. So I will show you that as soon as we get this sewn. I will be right back. Hey guys, it has been 3 weeks since I started this video. I have been from there and back again traveling, and we are wrapping it up. So that's why different shirt, different look. It's been a little while. So as I left us, we were going to mark our front of our journal and add the decorative stitches to it, and I was going to finish the Create block, which we have which we have right here. It's all done. Don't mind my glasses. It's all done here. I've even done the decorative stitching, which is just a triple stitch on my machine. It's just a really thick straight stitch, and I just drew it, freehand drew it, and then just stitched over that. You may want to put a little piece of stabilizer on the back. I did not do that, but it's okay. It was just a very little bit of stitching. But there is the create block for this month. So now back over to the journal cover. All right, so let's go ahead. We're going to get this measured up, and we're going to do the decorative stitching on it so that it looks like this. These are just 3 decorative stitches I had on my machine. I had a triangle, checkerboard, and those are supposed to be polka dots. I went with more graphic designs because I wanted it to feel a little more contemporary. You could have certainly done flowers and leaves and butterflies. Every machine has a ton of stitches. If yours doesn't, you can do zigzag stitch, you can do blind hem stitch. You have other utilitarian stitches that would also work for this as a decorative stitch. So I'm lucky enough to have all of these. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to do that. And so how we do that is we're going to find the center of each strip. So like this middle one is 3 inches. I'm just going to pull the ruler down to 1.5, and I'm just going to draw a line. And I'm stopping at the blue. I didn't go all the way across. You can if you want. I didn't. So there's my stitch line. Again, this is 2 inches. I'm going to go ahead and draw a line here. You just have to be able to see it. And then on this guy, there's a seam allowance here. And if you see here, I did not center them. But on this one, I am going to center them. So we're going to just go down 1 inch because there's a 1/4 inch seam allowance here. We're not going to fight with it. We're just going to go down here 1 inch, and that will be the center of this. This pen is not going to show up. So I'm going to use a Friction pen, which hopefully will write. There that is. And then the same thing up here, we're just going to, that's a 1/2 on that ruler end. I know I can, I could change it. I can make it work. But we're just going to go a 1 inch up on here to center the line on here. So I'm going to go over to the machine. I'm going to use my threads, and oh, that didn't even show up. Sheesh. Let's try again. I do find it's easier if you start from the center and go out versus trying to go in the middle. There we go. That's good enough for government work. So here are the threads we got again. And so what I'm going to do is put the purple on the green. I'm going to put the yellow on the teal. And I'm going to put the teal on the purple. We're going to stop there. Oh, I didn't mark that one. I will mark that one before I go over. And then I'm going to bring this back so you can see it all stitched up. Alright, so I'm going to walk through how to do all our pockets as well, because before I stitch that decorative stitch, I'm going to do the decorative stitch on each of the pockets. As you can see here, I just did the, oops, let's get it on camera. This is the teal pocket, that's the green, that's the purple, and then the same thing on that green one, and then this is our little business card pocket. So let's go over how we're going to make the pockets, so then I can, when I have the decorative stitch up, I can do both of them. So there are 2 lime green pockets. So the first thing you need to do is get all of your pieces sorted out here. There are lots of pieces. It's all spelled out in the pattern for you, what goes where. But this is first our easiest one. This is our business card pocket. So what we're going to do with this one is we're going to fold it in half, right sides together, and press it. And I'm going to stitch down and across, stitch across it up, leaving an opening. I'm going to turn it right side too. So it looks like this. There's the fold at the top. And then you just top stitch it onto your piece. So I'm going to go ahead and do that pocket. Then we've got this little guy, and then we have our stabilizer. So first we've got the inner piece, this piece right here. We're just going to put stabilizer on the back of that one. Then we've got 2 narrow pieces of stabilizer. And we have 2 pieces, these 2 are the same size. So how we're going to do this is you take this is fusible stabilizer, shiny side down, you just align it with that edge. Apparently this is not cut to the right side. And we're going to just fold this over, and we're going to do our decorative stitch so that it looks like that. And we're going to do the same thing on the green, which again, let's see what is right and what is wrong. The stabilizers are too short. Now, if you happen to run into that, we're going to flip this a 1/4 inch. So if you happen to mistakenly do that, don't worry about it. It's going to get caught in the seam. I'm not going to worry about it because I don't want to waste all that stabilizer. So then we're going to do the same thing on here, and we'll decorate it, do that stitch on there. Then the next size pocket is this guy. Again, we're going to iron this down and press this over. See, that one was the right size. And then we're going to iron that down for, this is this pocket, this is this pocket. So the narrower one is on the left side and the wider one is on the right side. So we'll have that one, and then finally we will do this pocket, same thing, fold it over, iron it, and then when I'm doing the decorative stitches here on the cover, I can go ahead and do the decorative stitches just along the edge. I just did it like 1/8 of an inch in, 1/4 inch in. It doesn't matter. You can just be consistent wherever you can find a part on your, if the edge of your foot can run there and do it. That's how I think I did it. But we're going to do that, all that decorative stitching, and then we'll be back to put this together. Okay, so we are back, and I have got all of my decorative stitching done. This one had a little boo-boo, but I'm going to live with it. The rest of these really look very, very nice. You can choose to live with it or not. It is up to you. So we have all of those, and we have this, and I think I have one of those out of order. Here is the journal cover all stitched. And that one I think came out much, much better. Sorry about the shadow there. Let's see if I can, there we go. How's that? Oh, much better. So there is, I did a dot stitch in the purple on the green. I did the square stitch on the light blue. And you can see my Frixion pen line there. I got to iron this and get rid of that. And then I did the turquoise triangles on the purple. And then I matched it on the pockets on the inside. So that matches and that matches. We have 2 of those. And then this guy matches almost. I kind of messed that one up a little bit. All right, so now that we have all these pieces done, the other thing I did is I folded this in half, wrong sides together, and I don't know how, if you, yeah, I guess you could vaguely see it. I stitched down into here, and I stitched over here and up. So now what I can do is grab some scissors. I've changed all my drawers, so now I don't know where anything is. All right, so grab my scissors, and I am going to just clip the corners. Get rid of that thread. These corners, yeah, I guess we could clip those. We just don't want to clip into our stitching. All of this is outside the stitching. It's just removing the bulk from the pockets so that they will turn nicely. Goodness gracious. All right, now, yeah, I seriously cleaned all my drawers and can't find anything. So now we're going to turn this right side out and make our little business pocket. This is a business card pocket, and if you don't have fingernails, you use a purple thing to poke these out, which is what I was looking for but can't seem to find over here. But if you have long fingernails, which I have at the moment, we can pop those out. Voila! There is our credit card thing. This will be the top of the pocket, and then the opening, we'll just tuck all this in, press it, move that out of our way. There we go. So when we sew this on, we're going to sew this on to this guy. And the reason I have you do the decorative stitching first before we do this is so that you don't run into where your decorative stitching is, and you need to leave a 1/4 inch there. And we're going to go about 1.5 inches from the bottom of the thing, of the bottom of the piece. So now we have that there. We have our little pocket. I will press it before I do it, and then I'm just going to top stitch down the side across the bottom, which will close my opening, and up the side. And we'll have a little business card pocket right there, or a little whatever you want to put in there. You put a pencil or a pen in there, whatever you want. So that's there. You could, if you are going to use it for pens and pencils, just turn it this way and slide them in that way. It is totally up to you how you want to do it. It's your journal cover, but that is that. So that is ready. So I need to stitch this on first, but then I'm going to show you the next step before we go. So here's our cover. We don't need to worry about that right now. Here is our good interior piece, okay? And I don't know how I got lint all over it. So what we're going to do is once this is stitched, it will align right here. And then over here, we're going to align the 3 pockets. So one right here. Then we have the wider of the green goes to the right. Just FYI. Here and here. So now we have the interior done. We're going to use an 1/8 inch seam and stitch all of this together. I am going to clip it all together with Wonder Clips before I do that. But we're going to use an 1/8 inch seam because we don't want that seam to show when we put the cover over it. And we're going to stitch around that and then turn it. I will show you that in just a second. Let me get these pockets onto here and I will be right back. All right, so here it is all with the 1/8 inch seam. There's the pockets. And looks like we will be able to do this one with the 1/4 inch seam allowance and it will work just fine. So I'm not going to worry about that. So now that we have this part done, we're going to take our cover, which this is, in my mind, this is the right way to put it. So we're going to put it right sides together with the back. And I'm going to clip all the way around and I'm going to start here and sew to here, leaving an opening. We're going to turn it through the opening and then we're going to top stitch all the way around to close this opening. So let me get this part done and I will be right back with the journal. All right, so we have this all sewn. I am just going to clip the corners again, just like we did on the pocket. I know, I don't need to clean my table off, but it drives me crazy. And then we get rid of those and those. All right. Now, the other thing I want to show you, and I learned this from a student in Atlanta where I just taught Jan. She's a bag maker, and she showed me that when you have to turn something, if you do a straight stitch down and a straight stitch down, when I turn this out, it'll naturally lay in and I won't have to try to even this edge out. Did it on the pocket to try it. It worked. So let's see how it does on here. Now I usually leave the hole big enough for my hand. So if you have little hands, little hole. Big hands, big hole. And now we're going to just turn this carefully. So we don't want to pop any seams. And we shall have a journal cover. And I'll have to just top stitch it. But let's see how that looks. I figured you'd want to see this on camera because turning these things can always be oh so fun, especially when we have as many layers as we do. So the first thing we're going to do once I get this turned is we're going to go around the seam, which I'm going to do while I'm turning it, and make sure everything is caught in the seam and we have a nice finish. If we don't, we have to turn it right side out or right side in again and re-sew that area. So fingers crossed we don't have any of those. And you can see it's going to take a minute or two. This is where a dowel would be really helpful, or a purple thing. You would think I would have grabbed one, seeing how I didn't have one before, but I did not. Alright, now that was the hard side. That's the one with all the pockets. That's where I left it open. This all looks good, so... Oh yay! So see how that's nice and clean? This is the opening I left. And then we have to do this last corner because this all looks nice and neat. That's the important part. This is where you want to check it and see if you have any, you know, boobers along the edge where it didn't quite get caught in the seam, but that all looks nice and clean. We're going to press all of this and I'm going to run a top stitch around. And then here you can see, you know, I've got thread sticking out. But before I do that, I am going to take a dowel or a purple thing and pop out those corners a little more. But here is where I did those straight stitches. And see, you can even see here, I think. You can see that interfacing is wanting to lay itself in. And this side also just wants to lay in nice and neat. This piece just doesn't it didn't stick to the interfacing. But overall, that is quite a little trick to get your openings nice and even when you have to press them and top stitch that closed. So I'm going to go ahead, get this pressed, get the corners punched out, get it ready to go. I'm going to top stitch it and then we'll be ready to use our cover. So here it is, all top stitched, turned, and pressed. The top stitch closes the bottom. And now we're ready to put our sketchbook in it. Again, this is just one I got at Michael's. It's a 7x10 sketchbook and it slides in behind the purple pocket and behind the green pocket. And it is easier to put it in the wider pocket first and then center it on here. And there we go. We are all set with our sketchbook. I did do the pocket the lengthwise way. You can just slide a pen in here and you are ready to go. So this is the secondary project for this month. This is the create block. This is the journal cover. And these are the 3 threads that you will get in the lovely Aurifil Thread Collector box. So you will get the threads, the pattern for this and this. I hope you will join us with the MulQueen's block of the month for our Imagine quilt. We are month 5. Next month we're going to be doing a tote bag, so stay tuned for that. I hope you've learned a lot about how to make a journal cover. They are not scary or hard. They're just, you have to do the steps in the right order and measure your notebook before you start. So with all of that being said, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Make sure you leave me a comment below. Let me know if you are stitching along, if you are making just the journal cover, and what you think of the Aurifil Thread Collector Club. So as always, make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.